Welcome to Wesley Impact. I'm Keith Garner. When was the last time you received a letter through the post or simply threw the envelope away? At Wesley Mission, we don't draw back from the fact that we have to promote the need for resources to maintain our work and to serve the people in the way that we do. One of the tools that we use to help us is modern technology and communication. By using that technology, we send thousands of emails to people every day and to external people. But we also have a traditional mail room where our staff collate the mail, make sure that they're stamped and ready for post. Our staff go to the post office daily to send and collect our mail. I don't see that disappearing entirely, even though it has changed dramatically. The influx of emails and electronic communication with smartphones and tablets have meant that the good old-fashioned way of writing a letter, folding it in thirds and popping it in the envelope, has certainly changed. In the Uniting Church, there's an innovative work that's still using stamps to raise funds. Later, I'll be talking to Alistair Christie, a member of the Uniting Church Stamp Committee, and looking at how they've raised a huge number of dollars collecting stamps to support the work of the Uniting Church. And afterwards, we'll be joined by Matt Doeland singing All Because of You, and I'll be sharing some thoughts on the promise of the Holy Spirit as we read it in John's Gospel. John 14:23 through 29 repeats the thought of last week in relation to the commandment to love, but goes on to talk about the promised Holy Spirit that Jesus says will lead us into all truth. He was soon to depart from them, but they would quickly realise that he was going to offer them the gift of his presence that would be with us always. Now, before I speak to the Reverend Alistair Christie, member of the Uniting Church Stamp Committee, on the innovative ways that they raise funds, I'd like to look at some of the work that we do at Wesley Mission also. Here, through our Everyday Heroes programme, Jason Hooper, a Paralympian and a long-time volunteer at Wesley Mission, describes that he wanted to do something that could help raise funds and do something that he always enjoys, and that's swimming. Jason is what we call an everyday hero. Let's take a look at this.
My name's Jason Hooper. I'm a disabled swimmer. I'm going to do a 7-hour swim-a-thon for Wesley Mission to help the needy. I was a disabled athlete, and from 1990 to 99, my feet gave up at the end of 99. So I took up disabled swimming from 2000 to present. This is my 25th year as a disabled athlete. 100 gold medals, 46 silver, 4 bronze. I was in Sydney on New Year's Day and I saw all these homeless people, and I thought, I've got to do something to help. So here we are, we're going to do it today. It's going to be very satisfying after I knock this 7-hour swim over, because I know I've done my little part to help the needy. So it's going to be great. I know it's going to be hard, I know it's going to be tiring, but this is only for one day. Homeless people have got to do with it every day of the year. And deep down, I will struggle a bit, but in the back of my mind, I'll think, shut up, bullfed, do the swim. You've got a nice, warm, comfy bed to sleep in, no gutters, no idiots picking on you because you're homeless. It's all good. I normally wear hip to knee swimmers, but today it's all about comfort, so I'll just wear the budgie smugglers. Feeling good, pumped up. Water's wet. Bit cold. Don't die icebergs, here I come. I was born with a birth defect called Apert syndrome, it affects hands and feet. There is one thing I'm pretty dirty on, I've never had a go at trying. When I was a kid, I always wanted to wear thongs. Growing up with a disability is easy. With the disability, you get to cope, you get to manage, you learn how to do stuff. Being able-bodied and becoming disabled, it's just too hard to imagine. To me, it's not about disability, it's about having a go. I've had about 1,000,001 nicknames, and I was looking for a new one. I was talking to a mate over coffee, and I said, what nickname do you think I should have? He said, determination. I said, just determination? He said, okay, Mr. Determination, because you've got more determination to get up and go than anybody I know, so it suits you. I'm actually thinking about going to a nail place and getting them trimmed up. They'll say, how much do you get for a discount? I've only got a couple. This is actually a bonus. I've got a swim meet next month. Disabled at white. This is going to get me nice and fit. Anyway, we'll go back to it.
The Sports United fundraising lunch is now in its 7th year. Sports stars, table sponsors and other donors meet over a first-class lunch held at the Heritage Royal Automobile Club of Australia. All funds raised go towards Wesley Mission's homelessness services. It's a great opportunity to showcase your organisation's corporate social responsibility. For more information, call 02 9263 5555 or visit wesleymission.org.au.
If you'd like to attend Sports United to help with the work of Wesley Mission and homelessness, please do visit our website, wesleymission.org.au. Now, the Uniting Church Stamp Committee started some 30 years ago, and over that time has consistently raised a certain amount of money every year. It's quite a unique and unlikely achievement. Now, Alistair, as well as being president of the Stamp Committee, you're also a former moderator of the Uniting Church in New South Wales and ACT. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Keith, for the opportunity.
When were you moderator? Just remind us.
2002 to 2004.
Now, we're not come here to talk about that, but have you got a memory of that time that to you is very special?
Some really top memories, Keith. I remember meeting some of the Islamic leaders from the Anzac Mosque who wanted to be able to begin to establish relationship with the Christian Church.
Yes.
And with the Uniting Church in particular, because they understand the Uniting Church's outreach to all people.
And I think that today that's a very relevant theme, isn't it? Especially
Yes.
as we come to that times when we want to be together and realise that we're all human beings.
Yes.
And pain is pain, whatever.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Look, let's talk about this Stamp Committee. When you think of the term Stamp Committee, it might just conjure up in people's minds something, quite archaic, and out of date, But what is the committee? Tell us a bit about it.
The Stamp Committee is made up of a group of people who meet in Sydney, but hundreds of people within the Synod, New South Wales and the ACT, who volunteer to collect used stamps, to trim the stamps, to sort them when they can, and to send them to Sydney to the group who work in the stamp room, which is located in Pilgrim House in Pitt Street.
Well, and they meet there regularly. It's been going on for 30 years. How long have you been involved?
About 20 years, something like that.
Right.
A bit more.
And they use it and they raise money. I mean, what are you talking about here? $10? Or what are we talking about when they raise money?
Well, since the group began in 1977, there's $714,000 been raised.
Yes.
Last year, there was $21,000 $1,000 raised, and already in 2016, since the 19th of January, there's over $4,000.
So basically, this money then adds as, if you like, seed funding to enable God's work to go on in various ways.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's stamp dealers who buy, but there's also those people who have their collections and want to add to their personal collections can come in and go through the stock books that are available. And there's 20 plus countries in which stamps are available, so people can come in and buy what they want. So it's quite an interesting time. There's not a lot of noise in the stamp room at any time because people are sorting the stamps that have come in.
Yeah.
Or they're looking for stamps.
Searching for that one in that particular set that they don't really have.
That one, yes.
Yeah.
So the stamp room's open on Tuesday mornings and Friday mornings. Tuesdays, people can buy in bulk as well as search for themselves. And on Friday, it's just for people who are looking for their
And for viewers, they'll be able to see some of those stamps that we have that you've got there.
I understand that. Yes,
yeah, and that gives a picture. There's one of the Harbour Bridge, really, which is a lovely one. There's some of the pictures it's from. What year was the stamps of Harbour Bridge done? Are they quite old, or is it? It looks like they're from the earliest days, aren't they?
Those are postcards that people
of the 1930s when the bridge was developed.
When the bridge was opened. And
yeah. So when people collect, look, this is the big, the $64,000. Can people give to this? If anybody's got a stamp collection?
Too right, Keith.
We better ask the question, haven't we?
Yes. Nowadays there's a lot of stuff coming in, and I say stuff, but a lot of collections coming in from people who can no longer care for it themselves.
Yes.
Or sometimes part of deceased estates when families don't want to carry on. So those come in and they go to auction, as do sometimes individual stamps, as do postcards.
So if you've got a collection at home that's been handed to you and you don't know what to do with it, here's a way in which you can do something with it, but it'll have a good purpose, won't it?
It will, because it used to be every year and sometimes a couple of times a year, but we advertise when applications are being sought for funding.
Yeah. And
people can apply for funding for something in their community, for something in their congregation.
Yeah.
Now,
usually something new or different, or something that they're trying to do.
Yes, something that they're starting off. Originally, the applications came through each of the individual synod boards, but nowadays it's a bit more...
Are there any memorable stamps, you think, that if your committee was sitting down that they've ever seen?
Always there's an interest in Christmas stamps, postcards, all kinds of things that come from locally and overseas. Sometimes people have a fascination for the royal family. You wouldn't believe that, would you? But there are people who have collections solely on the royal family or on Australian stamps, and some of those people be looking at behind.
Alistair, stay with me for a minute or two, and I'll come back to you just at the end of the show. But this is certainly something that helps to foster relationships. It's great for the team that's involved in it. And I do appreciate Alistair coming in and telling us about it. And maybe you're one of those people that could help. Please welcome now Matt Doeland to sing the song All Because of You.
And I am just amazed by everything I see. Everything I've done, and I am just so grateful for the way you never let me go. And even when I feel like I just can't go on, I'm feeling all alone. Look up to the sky, I hold my hands up high and call upon your name. It's all because of you. It's all because of you. Everything I am and everything I do, and I am not the same. Forever I am changed. All because of you. It's all because of you. Drowning in my sin, I did not know the way. I was broken and confused. But when I felt your touch, and when I saw your light, you lifted me from shame. You've never let me down. You're never far away, and you always hold me close. And everything you've done, Lord, you've done it all for me, so I can be free. It's all because of you, Lord, it's all because of you. Everything I am and everything I do, and I am not the same, Lord, forever I am changed. It's all because of you, Lord, it's all because of you. It's all because of you. It's all because of you. Everything I am and everything I do, and I am not the same. Forever I am changed. It's all because of you. It's all because of you. Oh. You came to earth a humble man, to fulfill your Father's plan. You took away my guilt and shame. Because of you, I'm not the same. No.
I chose to volunteer at Wesley Mission because I'm passionate about justice.
I chose to volunteer with Wesley Mission because I've always wanted to work with people who have a disability.
You meet friendly people. They're all people who are self-motivated and energetic.
It not only gives me a purpose, keeps me active, and activity leads to longevity.
Wesley Mission currently provide over 130 individual services with over 2,000 employees, supported by over 3,000 volunteers to assist over 21,000 families and individuals each year. Whew, that's a lot of numbers. So as you can imagine, we are always looking for more volunteers to help. So please, volunteer today. Visit our website, wesleymission.org.au. You will not only be meeting new and interesting people, but you will be doing all the good you can, because every life matters.
Jesus was preparing his disciples for the fact that he wouldn't always be with them and his departure from this world. So I want to read to you, if I can, just 3 verses from John chapter 14. John 14, 25 through 27. All this I have spoken while still with you. But the Advocate, the Holy Spirit, whom the Father will send in my name, will teach you all things and will remind you of everything I have said to you. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid. Well, Jesus knew that the disciples would miss him. He knew also that they would need resources to be able to carry on the work that was there. And he wouldn't leave them without those resources. One writer talked about the benefits of Jesus' departure in dealing with this particular chapter. In fact, chapters 14 through to 17 in John's Gospel are some of the great teaching that we find in the Gospel, particularly about the work of the Holy Spirit in this particular season of the year. He promised to send the Holy Spirit to help the disciples, to empower them, to be alongside them, to be the one that speaks through them. There were limitations before Pentecost. Of course, up till that point, Jesus' ministry, as he walked alongside people, as he reached out to the marginalised and the poor, was usually in one place at one time. But after Pentecost, the gift of the Spirit brings a new and broader possibility into the lives of those disciples and, of course, for all of us as part of the Christian community. Jesus says this, "All this I've spoken while still with you." So in this situation where I can only be with you at one place at one time, he speaks these words, but goes on to say, "You heard me say I'm going away and I'm coming back to you. If you love me, you'll be glad I'm going to the Father, for the Father is greater than I." And the gift that he will give to the disciples will mean that his ministry of love and compassion and service would then be lived out through the Christian church in their day and in all days. It would lead them into the fullness of truth. There is, however, something more than this, because the gift of the Holy Spirit to the first disciples and to all of us is a gift of peace. Now, the word peace conjures up all kinds of thoughts in our minds. It is more than just the absence of war, more than just the absence of calamity. It's something deeper. And verse 27 is one of the most oft-quoted verses from John's Gospel. "Peace I leave with you. My peace I give you. I do not give you as the world gives. Don't let your hearts be troubled and don't be afraid." What a wonderful gift. A gift of something more significant, more meaningful than we could ever ourselves generate. It's a gift of peace. And if ever we've needed that gift of peace, it is today. When Jesus anticipated the disciples requiring that gift, he knew already that they would have to face up to all kinds of conflict. Very soon after Pentecost, the Christian church knew what it was, many of them, to be scattered away from Jerusalem to many different places. Many of them would have to struggle. Some of the great apostles and leaders of the church would find themselves under house arrest and in prison. The truth is they would need peace in such situation. The peace that would bring them calmness, the peace that would bring them love, the peace that would bring them grace, and the peace, if I dare say it, that would give them power. The power to be able to be Jesus' disciples, his servants, his vessels in the world around them. These gifts are a legacy of love. They're what Jesus decides to leave to them. We talked earlier about people leaving stamps, perhaps, as a legacy to generations that follow. Jesus gave a legacy to the world, and his legacy was of love. His legacy was of peace, and he gave it to us so that we might somehow, as his people, maintain those qualities and those virtues day by day through the same gift of the Spirit. We long to be a people who hear the words of Jesus, but don't only hear them, but put them into practice day by day as we seek to be his people. So the God who has met us in the person of Jesus Christ, who lived and died and was raised from the dead, is no longer locked into one place in Palestine and Israel, but is for all places, for all times, and for all people.
If you would like to contact Keith and find out more about today's program, write to us at Wesley Mission, Post Office Box A5555, Sydney South 1235, or you can send an email to impacttv@wesleymission.org.au. On our website, you can catch up on past episodes of Wesley Impact, find out more about our work, read online magazines and articles, and connect with us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. You can also connect to Keith's blog and stay up to date on all of the latest news and information from Wesley Mission. wesleymission.org.au.
Thank you ever so much for joining us in today's episode of Wesley Impact. I hope you enjoyed the conversation with Alistair and the references to John's Gospel. Now, Alistair, just quickly, if someone was thinking of getting involved in a local church or in a ministry that gave them the opportunity, such as the Stamp Committee, to socialise and interact with others, what would you say to them?
Picking up on what you've already said, Keith, I often say to people, if the Spirit prompts you, just do it.
Yes, yes. Don't hold back.
Don't hold back, just do it.
Alistair, thank you for being so straight and direct about that. We all know that that's important in our lives. If you'd like to watch this episode or past episodes of Wesley Impact, visit wesleymission.org.au. And if you'd like to comment on today's episode, or if you've got some stamps, make a response to. Email me at impacttv@wesleymission.org.au. Thank you for joining us today, and God bless you in the coming week. And you join us again next week here on Wesley Impact.
Wesley Mission has more than 3,000 volunteers who help us provide our care and services. To find out more, visit wesleymission.org.au.